And there you have it, the third of 4 Champions of Chaos, and the best reveal thus far, in my humble opinion. Vilitch the Curseling, the Twisted Twin, will be the mortal representative for Tzeentch and the Warriors of Chaos. A character that perfectly encapsulates the Raven God and all that he preaches, from the very obvious marks of mutation and corruption, to the outpouring of arcane sorcery, betrayal, revenge, and the changing of fates, making the weak strong and the strong slaves. The Master of Misrule is here, so let's talk lore, campaign effects, playstyle, and visuals we can expect when the puppets become playable on August 23rd. So a lot of people get it confused when they see this model for the first time. They see the big, tall, strapping, muscled guy and think naturally, that's Vilitch. It's kind of the thing that your eye is first drawn towards. We've got a pinky in the brain type deal here. They're melded together, conjoined in destiny, but working together towards a common goal of death, destruction, and whatever the hell else Chaos dreams about. But no, that is not the case in this particular scenario. Though there are technically 2 noggins present here, only one of them is properly functioning, because back in the day, a pair of twins were born to a northern tribe, and only one of them was marked for greatness. Thomin, the thriving twin, was big, strong, and sexy, and he quickly became a warrior and leader. Vilitch, however, was an embarrassment, a runt and weakling incapable of caring for himself. Denied the use of a sword and forced into menial labor and housework, he was beaten, chastised, and humiliated on the regular, which naturally embittered him to the tribe and his own family. Thomin was cruel as well, full Nelson body slamming his poor brother every chance he got. So, one night, when the Chaos Moon glowed bright on Geheimnisnacht, Vilitch prayed for a reversal of fortune, that the mighty and beloved Thomin would fall from grace, and that he would become ascendant in his stead. The shit is right up Tzeentch's alley, of course. He loves this stuff, so the Changer planted the seed, and sure enough, when they both awoke, the twins had become malformed, conjoined, and ready to begin a new reign of arcane power. Thomin was reduced to a mindless husk, a slave to the will of the parasite on his back, who would grow to become one of the mightiest sorcerers of an age. And his first play after coming into power was, of course, to slaughter his tribe. Pretty common backstory there, and, just enslave the warrior elite to his will, which is essentially what we see in the trailer, an army of automatons turned off and waiting for commands before the start of the ambush, then activated and surrounding a Nurgle force with lethal and robotic precision. This is why his sub-faction will be called the Puppets of Misrule, because if Vilitch can find any use for you, he'll hollow you out, make a shell out of you, and turn you into his very own rubric marine of sorts, which is exactly what he did to get back at the clan that spurned and abused him. But a gift from Tzeentch is so rarely all it seems cracked up to be, and when the end times finally rolled around, the twins found themselves in the realms of chaos during the siege of Averheim. Confused by his arrival in the warp, in the Raven God's domain, Vilitch realized all too late that Thomin had not fully relinquished his sentience and had pled to Tzeentch for salvation. In yet another cruel twist of fate, their roles were reversed once more. Vilitch the Curseling's mind was utterly obliterated, and Thomin took control. But at least in this timeline, Vilitch the Runt is still in charge, which means a casting focus, but the hulking brute beneath him can still swing and bang with the best of them. He'll be more than capable in melee, while big-time spells from the lore of Tzeentch are popping off everywhere. On the tabletop, he wasn't fleshed out to the extent of a lot of other characters, lacking quite a few special rules and items of his own contemporaries, but his big claim to fame, besides the gorgeous model, was his Vessel of Chaos item, which allowed him to convert failed dice rolls of an enemy mage into extra power dice for himself, giving him more casting potential. This could be converted into Total War by simultaneously working as a Hex of the Winds for enemies, lowering their magic pool, while increasing your own, on top of the Arcane Conduit and other spell-boosting tools he will presumably already have. In Immortal Empires, he will objectively be a worse caster than a Lord of Change or Chaos Sorcerers on Dis, purely from a mobility and positioning perspective, because the twins don't have any access to mounts whatsoever, which will make blue fire, pink fire, and those juicy vortexes harder to land and abuse. Being a flying caster completely changes how effective you can be when using magic, of course, but they'll make up for that with their passive, which increases spell mastery, meaning more spell damage, melee attack, and melee defense when in combat or casting spells. Think of features similar to Scarbrand or Scrag, except your spells deal more damage the more times you cast them. So there should be a ton of synergy with the spell spamming you're already encouraged to do as Tzeentch, building up your army abilities in custom battle and multiplayer. On the campaign side, the Twisted Twins faction effects include increased barrier hit points and corruption for vassals, which, again, I'm kind of struggling to understand why this is exciting, or even particularly newsworthy. Like, I get the new Warriors of Chaos will push vassalization a bit more, but giving my vassals poison or some extra HP with barrier doesn't seem all that interesting to me. but perhaps the rework will make vassals a lot more fun and engaging this time around, so I'll reserve judgment till I play with it. It just doesn't wow me on paper. But Vilitch will have access to changing of the ways, so lots of cool mechanics there, like forcing war between two factions or transferring settlements, which should be really fun. We've seen it with Kairos. He has a really interesting campaign. I think Vilitch is going to push that to the next level, especially now that we have, mortals to play with. And your forces will receive additional buffs when in regions with high winds of magic. He'll generate even more souls when friendlies die, and he can teleport underway through otherwise impassable terrain on the campaign map. His lord effects include stealing XP from other characters, the aforementioned Twisted Twin passive, where he gets better stats while in melee, and more spell damage the more magic he casts, and cheaper usage of teleport. So there's obviously elements we don't know about his battle abilities and role so far. As the other playthroughs have demonstrated, these are kind of just a snapshot, providing some insight of what he can accomplish, but there's likely a lot more to him that we'll see tomorrow. For now, let's talk faction matchups, performance, and aesthetics, and just general impressions from the trailer. In terms of Game 3 matchups, the Champions of Chaos DLC is going to make Tzeentch a nightmare for quite a few factions. In particular, I think the Ogre Kingdoms, the Tomb Kings, and probably Bretonnia as well. As I've said before, all of these mortals coming to the Mono Gods all at once is going to dramatically shift what the Chaos factions are capable of, and in many cases completely plug up whatever holes they may have had. They were already strong factions to an extent. They're going to be a lot better now, and I think Nurgle will benefit the most of the four because they're finally getting armor, mobility, missile block chance, and armor piercing all at once, which are all things they heavily lacked before, and chosen blobs with healing will be straight up disgusting. But I think Tzeentch will benefit hugely from this update as well, and that will come at the cost of some sad ogres, skelly boys, and knights of Zaladi, although I'm sure there are others that will find it a bit more difficult of a matchup now too. I mean, think about all the tools Tzeentch currently has, and then give them an elite front line of armored halberds, and ask yourself what the hell ogres or Bretonnia are supposed to do against that. Chosen halberds and the new aspiring champion ROR to deal with all the large and monsters, barrier to block artillery shots, bow fire and incoming magic, and still tons of speed on the flanks with furies and screamers to flank and rear charge and harass a back line. That is going to be a powerful combination, and it's going to be so hard to get through barrier chosen halberds. Tomb Kings are another race that I think has a very real chance of struggling hard against Tzeentch, and it's not just because their lords are susceptible to flame, it's that skeletons melt to spears like pink fire super easy. Even Tomb Guard melt to a spell like that one. An armored core of barrier halberds is difficult to shoot to death, obviously, and will wreck both skeletons and constructs, even when they're stacked up together. Can't say I have a lot of experience with the matchup yet, but I played it a few times before this DLC, and I think it will be unpleasant for the Tomb Kings, to say the least, when Tzeentch is in the hands of a competent opponent. In terms of the visuals and aesthetics for Vilitch and the new Mark of Tzeentch units in general, holy balls, they look absolutely smexy. Tzeentch units are the best looking of the three revealed thus far, and I don't even think it's that close. The unique looking weapons and helmets, the iconography, the glowing eyes, and the rubric marine feel all kind of creates a really unified and great looking aesthetic. They look fantastic, and we've already seen what their mounted contemporaries can do in battle from a performance side of things. Armored Chaos Warriors with shields and with halberds are going to be a game changer for them in both campaign and multiplayer. As for Vilitch himself, I am very happy, if not entirely surprised, that they went for the 8th edition model and not the newer Age of Sigmar variant. Naturally, we've had plenty of evidence with previous lords like Be'lakor that would be the route they would take anyway, but I personally much prefer the 8th edition model. I just think that design, the weapons, and proportions there look better on the old cast, though I certainly don't hate the new design. Both look solid, but Thoman in particular just looks meatier and more menacing on the left to me, and I think that setup just translates better to Total War. His reveal in-game could not have been done much better. Dark, terrifying, no comedy, no fluff, just straight to business here, and when the edge of the forest lights up with all their glowing eyes, that was definitely one of the hypest trailer moments we've had since the marketing cycle for Warhammer 3 began last year. I think Vilitch is maybe my second to last favorite character of the four, but of the 3 trailers we've seen so far, I think I've liked his the best, I think I've liked his reveal the best, and his faction aesthetic is winning in my mind as well. Tzeentch just looks freaking sick. So, hope you guys enjoyed that look at the Twisted Twin, and next week, we are saving the best for last. We got Valkia, the Gore Queen, coming up for Khorne. Can't wait to show you guys what we've got in store. Should be a good show. So, I will see you all in the next one.